So you're earning a good income, but that means you're locked out of contributing to a Roth IRA and all its amazing tax benefits. What do? Well, there's a pretty well-known strategy for that, and it's called the Backdoor Roth IRA. We're going to break down exactly how this clever workaround can get your money into a Roth, even when the front door seems closed to you.
Okay, so why does everyone want to get into a Roth account anyway? What's the big deal? It honestly boils down to this one single powerful idea: having a pot of money in retirement that you can pull from completely tax-free. No tax bill on your withdrawals. I mean, that's the dream, right?
And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's the classic choice: pay your taxes now or pay them later. With a traditional IRA, you might get a nice tax break today, but you'll owe the IRS when you start taking money out. The Roth IRA just flips that completely on its head. You pay the taxes up front on the money you put in, and then everything, all the growth, all the qualified withdrawals, is 100% yours, tax-free. So if a Roth is that good, why isn't everyone just piling their money into one? Well, yeah, there's a catch. And that brings us to the whole reason this strategy even exists in the first place: the Roth IRA lockout. Here's the problem, plain and simple. The IRS puts strict income limits on who can contribute. If you earn too much, you're just not allowed to put money directly into a Roth IRA. It's a hard stop. And let's look at the actual numbers for 2025. This is where the rubber meets the road. You can see it right here. If you're a single person making $165,000 or more, you're out. For a married couple filing jointly, that number is $246,000. For anyone in these brackets, the front door to the Roth IRA is officially slammed shut. So if the front door is closed, what do? You find another way in, right? And that's exactly where we get to the backdoor strategy. It's the clever workaround for high-income earners. Now, first things first, and this is really important, a backdoor Roth IRA is not a real thing. It's not an account you can go open somewhere. It's just the nickname for a two-step process you follow to move money into a Roth IRA when you otherwise wouldn't be allowed to. And just to be clear, this is a totally well-known and legal method that allows high earners to get around those income limits we just looked at. It lets you get your money into a Roth so you can unlock all that potential for tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals down the road. So how does this backdoor strategy actually work? It sounds like it might be complicated, but when you look at the mechanics of it, it's actually surprisingly simple. Let's break down the two key steps. Okay, here's the play-by-play. Step 1, you put money into a traditional IRA. Now, because you're a high earner, you can't deduct this contribution from your taxes. It's made with after-tax money. Then, step 2, a short time later, you convert that traditional IRA into a Roth IRA. You're literally just moving the money from one account to another. That's it. Seems almost too easy, doesn't it? Well, this is where we have to pump the brakes, because there's a major trap here that can turn this simple little two-step process into a very expensive tax mistake. It's called the pro rata rule. And that leads to the million-dollar question. I mean, you're using after-tax money to begin with, so the conversion from the traditional to the Roth should be tax-free, right? Unfortunately, the answer is not always. The reason for this is something called the IRA aggregation rule, and it's a big one. You see, for tax purposes, the IRS views all of your traditional IRAs, and that includes any SEP or simple IRAs or even an old 401k that you rolled over years ago. They see it all as one single giant account. They just lump it all together. This quote from Fidelity just nails it. You don't get to cherry pick. You can't just tell the IRS, hey, I only want to convert those specific after-tax dollars I just put in. Nope. The IRS says that any money you convert is considered a proportional mix, a pro rata mix of all the money in all your traditional IRAs, both the pre-tax and the after-tax stuff. Let's make this real with an example, because this is where it gets tricky. Say you already have $45,000 in pre-tax traditional IRAs. Then you go and contribute a fresh $5,000 of after-tax money for your backdoor strategy. In the eyes of the IRS, you have one big $50,000 pot. So your new after-tax money is only 10% of that total. When you go to convert that $5,000, the IRS says that 90% of it, or $4,500, is actually pre-tax money, and that $4,500 is now taxable income for the year. And just like that, your tax-free move comes with a pretty nasty surprise tax bill. So after seeing that potential tax trap, how in the world do you decide if the backdoor Roth IRA is actually the right move for your financial situation? You know, the trade-offs are pretty stark. On the one hand, the pros are huge. We're talking tax-free growth, tax-free withdrawals, and you don't even have to take required minimum distributions from a Roth in your lifetime. But the cons can be just as serious. If that pro rata rule bites you, the conversion could trigger a massive tax bill and maybe even bump you into a higher tax bracket. Plus, there are some timing rules you have to be aware of. And that brings us to this thing called the 5-year rule. The gist is, every time you do a conversion, it starts its own 5-year clock. If you take out those specific converted dollars before the 5 years are up, you could get hit with a 10% penalty. Now, this usually doesn't apply if you're over 59 and a half, but it's just another little detail you absolutely have to keep in mind.
So what's the bottom line? Here it is. The backdoor Roth IRA strategy is an absolute slam dunk for people who have a zero balance in any pre-tax IRA accounts. If that describes you, the conversion is clean, simple, and tax-free. But if you do have money in those other accounts, you have to be ready to deal with the pro rata rule.
And that really is the final question you need to ask yourself. Now that you understand the huge benefits, but also, and more importantly, the pro rata tax trap, is this backdoor strategy truly open for you? The answer really comes down to what's already sitting in your other IRA accounts. And look, we have to end on this note, and it is super important. We're just giving you the educational overview here. Tax laws are incredibly complicated, and they're always changing. So before you even think about attempting a strategy like this, please talk to a qualified tax professional who can look at your specific personal situation.